guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm back at Darlington Dogs of War once again, and I'm playing a long time fan of the channel. I'm playing Nicky, and I'm playing off against this fantastic Nurgle demon army with Scabby Thrax himself. So the mission today is going to be escalation. The objectives, we've got number 6, number 4 and number 5 back in the center here. Got number 3 in his deployment zone, number 2 and number 1 down on that flank. So let's have a very quick look at the armies. What I've got a Grotesquerie in 2 raiders with no knight shields. This raider here has Urian Rakarth in it. We've got the Corpse Thief Claw with all splinter cannons and chain flails. And we have the Segarax Jest formation, the Harlequins in here, 3 Caress, 2 Neurodisruptors, got 2 Skyweavers with Zephyr Glaives, and then we've got the Hero's Path formation here. The only upgrades on them, Shadow Seer is Mastery level 2 with the Mask of Secrets and Neurodisruptor. She rolled her powers on Telepathy, but she got Dominate, Horrify and Psychic Shriek. So most of them not being useful, but Psychic Shriek may be indeed. We've then got the Void Weaver back here. In reserve we've got the Scalpel Squadron with 2 Liquefiers in each. We've got the Dark Artisan with a Haywire Blaster.
I've got a Herald of Nurgle with 18 Plague Bearers. The Nurgle's got Plague Wind and the Locus of Fecundity. I've got a unit of 2 Beasts of Nurgle, a Giant Chaos Spawn of Nurgle. We have a Demon Prince of Nurgle, level 3 Psyker, and a Great Unclaimed one, also level 3. I've got another Great Unclaimed one over here, level 3. 2 more Beasts of Nurgle. I have a...
Right, so as it stands, the Dark Eldar have first turn, unless Nicky can seize. So Nicky, do you want to roll see if you seize? Nope, that's a 3. So it looks as though it's Dark Eldar, turn 1. Right, Dark Eldar turn 1, and we've rotate them alive, kill something in the assault phase. That is going to be difficult on turn 1, but let's have a look. Right, so this raider managed to immobilize itself. Fantastic. Meanwhile, both of my Venoms deep struck, but unfortunately scattered way off. I was trying to get them to land straight here in front of the Nurglings. So as a result, I've had to get the racks out. I want rid of them Nurglings with them liquefy guns as soon as we possibly can. So yeah, that's not great. That Venom unfortunately isn't going to be doing anything, so I think what I'm going to do is flat out them across here, and if the Death Jester can get a wound through on them Plague Bearers, grant an additional -1 leadership and hopefully force him to run. Meanwhile, the Talos pushing through the gap in the building. Hopefully we can pump some shots into those beasts over that way, and then potentially swing back to take on these 2 Demon Princes. Urian Rakarth meanwhile moving across the table again. I'm probably going to turbo boost up, potentially start and eat away at the leadership on this flank. Meanwhile over here, Starweaver and the Skyweavers are going to be dropping the Shuriken cannons into the beasts, and see what happens with the Plague Bearers there in the middle as well. Do I risk shooting into them, or do I potentially hope that I can make the Plague Bearers run with the Death Jester? We shall have to see. Right, it seems the shooting and sight phase hasn't quite gone according to plan. Despite getting 12 hits between all of the liquefier guns, we actually only managed to kill 1 base of Nurglings. So not fantastic at all. The other base there did take a wound as Nicky looked out from the Venom here. The other one is turbo boosted up here, and I didn't realise, but the Demons are actually fearless, which means that the Death Jester's nice little ability is not going to come into play. The Raider flat outed up here with Urian Rakarth in, just to stop any of them greater demons getting towards the Corpse Thief. And obviously I want to make sure that I get the charge on this side. So not too great at all, but fire from Talos and the bikers that were here managed to kill the giant spawn that was over there. In the Psychic phase, Psychic Shriek managed to do 2 wounds to the Plague Bearers, and the Star Weaver managed to cut 2 more of them down as well. In the Assault phase, we've jumped across here with the bikers, just make sure that we're out of charge range of those Plague Bearers. We don't want them getting near the bikers just yet until it's my choice to charge them. So, not too great a turn at all, but I do score first blood at least. I'm going to keep holding my card, see how it plays out, see if we can get the Talos into combat on turn 2. Right, so Nurgle turn 1, Nikki has drew secure objective 5, which is on my side of the board. Right, so we have done the movement and the Psychic phase in one go here. So this giant hulking wreck of blood and pus has come towards the smaller wrecks of blood and pus in the form of the racks. The beasts have moved around them, probably looking to start making their way up this side of the table towards the grotesques. These racks in this venom, yeah, it's not going to last much longer. In the Psychic phase, the Great Unclean One here managed to get off Cursed Earth and summoning, and summoned more Plague Bearers. Lovely. Meanwhile, over this side, the Demon Prince here managed to get off Cursed Earth as well. And as you can see, the Plague Bearers are pushing forward. I'm glad I put Urian's unit in front of there. It means he is going to have to get rid of the Raider before the Talos then go in. But the beasts totally forgot they could move 12. I think I'm going to lose the Shadow Seer. So that was it for the Psychic and movement phase. Let's move on to shooting and assaults. Right, so in the shooting phase, I ended up losing my Shadow Seer. Nikki rolled an 11 on the Warp Storm table, which meant that a randomly chosen Psychic had to take a leadership test on 3d6, and I rolled a 12. So my Shadow Seer has been removed and being replaced with that Herald there. We've done the charges. The Plague Bearers have charged into the Raider over here. This guy tried to charge up at the Venom here, but rolled a double 1. Meanwhile, down here, Scabby Thrax has charged in at the racks, as has the beasts there. Unfortunately, I don't get Overwatch due to the giant hulking blood boiling pus charging in first, and the liquefier guns wouldn't have done anything. So yeah, and this guy's charged in and going to wreck the remaining rack. He managed to kill 4 of them with his Flamer Template last turn, so I'm guessing this rack is probably going to say bye-bye. In the assault phase, as I expected, these Plague Bearers charged in and only managed to get the 3 glances needed to bring the Raider down. So Urian and the Grotesques jumped out. I think they're definitely going to be charging across this way, although I don't know, do I send the Talos after them in the hopes of being able to kill enough of them to score a victory point? Who knows. Across here, as expected, Scabby Thrax and the beasts managed to clean out the racks, but the racks managed to get a single wound through on one of the beasts, and this guy managed to cut down that lonely rack. So Nikki doesn't score any points that turn and is elected to discard objective 5. So we'll now move on to Dark Eldar turn 2. That's enough, mate. Right, so Dark Eldar turn 2, we drew secure objective 2, and we've got to take them alive, kill something in combat still, so hopefully we can do something productive this turn. Right, so I pretty much resigned myself to the fact I'm going to lose this flank, so the Grotesques are going to jump forward, hopefully take out the Plague Bearers, or potentially the Beasts. I've managed to position the Void Weaver here so we can get a lot of shots in on those Plague Bearers and get a shot in with the Shuriken Cannon back at the Plague Bearers that way, and I know I'm probably going to end up losing this to this guy next turn, but I'm going to have to try and take this flank back. So the Talos are pushing forward and are going to charge the Plague Bearers here. Hopefully we can take those guys out. Meanwhile, the Dark Artisan has dropped in and we're going to be dropping a nice lot of templates on this unit here as well. So hopefully that should be productive. The Venoms have jumped forward. This one is going to secure objective 2 for me, and hopefully between the two Venoms the firepower can hopefully bring down this greater demon. If not, then the Grots with Shred are going to be charging in, hopefully force enough saves on them to force them to go down. Meanwhile on this flank, the Skyweavers and the Harlequins have jumped out, looking to potentially take down the beasts. Hopefully the sheer number of attacks it will be getting and the shots from the Shurikens will do the job. Solitaire is going to try and take out this Herald if we can. We need to stop Nicky's psychic dice from jumping way away in front of our own, keep his inruns down, and try and slowly eat away and move back across this flank. So hopefully this plan isn't going to go too bad. Right, so shooting phase has been slightly more productive than last turn. The disintegrator cannon from this guy managed to kill one of the plague bearers, and the Void Weaver managed to bring down one of them as well. So the Grotesques are going to charge that way, I think. See if we can get rid of them. The Void Weaver, like I said, I'm probably going to lose that next turn. Down here, both Venoms have pumped into that Great Demon there, the Demon Prince rather, and brought him down to 1 wound. I'm pretty sure the Grotesques should be able to handle him in the assault phase. Meanwhile, 3 templates and a splinter cannon from that guy, as well as all the splinter cannon from these, did manage to whittle down this plague bearer unit quite considerably, but Nicky passing most of his armor and cover saves. The regun for the Void Weaver also lending a hand as well. Meanwhile at this side, the Harlequins, the Skyweavers, the Neurodisruptors and the Shuriken Pistols managed to bring 2 wounds off the lead beast here, and the Shuriken Cannon from the the Starweaver managed to do a single wound on the Herald, which means the Solitaire can probably take him. So I think we can hopefully deal with these as well as these guys as well, which means Nicky's going to have to start and come back across to me to start eating things. So I think we've got a couple of charges to make, and hopefully we can get rid of a reasonable amount, I hope. Right, so combat phase has been quite productive indeed. The Harlequins managed to make mincemeat of the beasts on this side. The Skyweavers didn't even get to swing at them, so they've consolidated about. However, the Solitaire didn't hurt the Herald. Unfortunately, he only actually got 2 wounds through, Nicky passing his 4-bin run due to the Great Demon being over that side. Meanwhile, down here in combat, we managed to kill a couple with Hammer of Wrath, and despite having Shred and hitting on 3s and everything, we managed to kill most of the Plague Bearers, but there was only 2 left. Nicky failed his leadership check, and due to demonic instability, being at -4 leadership for the Dark Artisan, the Corpse Thief, the Grotesquerie and the Scalper Squadron, meant he needed a double 1 on top of all the combat, and he rolled a 3, which meant due to being leadership 1, he lost 2 further models, unfortunately. So the Herald is still there, and I think that's kind of going to go in my favour, because it means I'll kill him in his turn, consolidate out, and then move back round to be able to do what I want in my turn. Meanwhile, as you're seeing in combats down here, despite the Grotesques hitting on 5s, we managed to actually bring down the Demon Prince on 1 wound. Urian stepping up and accepting a challenge, but failing to do anything. The Demon Prince smashed his hammer off Urian's head. Toughness 5, feel no pain 4+, and 4+ in run saved Urian. So that's going to get me a couple of victory points. I didn't score a victory point from the Talos here, but I did manage to remove an independent character in the assault phase, which will score me that all-important D3. Right, so my Venom scores me objective 2. Take them alive, I managed to remove an independent character during the assault phase for D3, so I'm at 2 points plus D3 for 2 more points, 4 points in total to Nicky's 0. So Nurgle turn 2, Nicky has drew secure objective 5 and ascendancy, needs to control any 3 objective markers. Right, so this guy is going to secure objective 3 for Nicky. It looks as though the Nurglings are pushing forward. Here's objective 6, he's going to have to move the Grotesques off there if he wants to secure that one. In the centre, he's going to have to knock the Venom off there and get onto that one if he wants to secure that one. So I'm thinking 3 may be a little bit difficult, but we'll have to see if we can do it. So yeah, the plague drone has arrived in the Great and Clean one, and Scalathrax has moved around, and this Demon Prince, sorry, this Great and Clean one is running away from Urian. Urian slew the Demon Prince, and he's coming for this demon. So in the psychic phase, this guy cast Cursed Earth again, and this guy tried to as well, but unfortunately it didn't go off. He also tried to summon, and again Nicky failed to summon. His psychic dice significantly reduced due to me killing that Demon Prince, so not too shabby at all. Shooting phase, this guy took a pot shot, was just within range of the Death Jester, 2 up cover save, and of course Harry rolls a 1. Fantastic. The Plague Drone shot everything at the Void Weaver. I elected to use me Mirage launchers. Turns out I didn't need them, as the Reaper autocannons didn't even hit, unfortunately. Meanwhile, Scalathrax's template managed to do a single glance on this Venom, but no damage to that one there at all. So not a productive round of shooting for Nicky's army, but they don't focus on shooting. It's psychic and assault that are going to do the damage. So I think over here, I'm hoping to God these grotesques can hold these guys up, but there's going to be a lot of attacks. I've still got 9 wounds to chomp through, but still. Let's move into the assault phase. Right, so in the assault phase, Scalathrax tried to charge up at the Venom, but unfortunately just out of range with Nicky's roll, unfortunately. In combats down here, the Talos managed to just about make mincemeat of the Herald. The Herald had a 4-pin run due to the Warp Storm table. The Solitaire, meanwhile, didn't do any damage to this guy, so he hit and ran this way. I'm going to use the Harlequins to probably take him out and then get the Skyweavers a bit further across the table, hopefully. Meanwhile, down in this combat here, we lost a single grotesque, and we did 3 wounds on the beasts there, which does tie up the combat. Unfortunately, though, Nicky's troops do not score that objective due to him being unbound with 3 HQs. So, he doesn't score objective 5, and he doesn't score Ascendancy, unfortunately. The only other thing was the Great Unclean one here failed to do any damage to the armor 10 of the Void Weaver. So hopefully we're going to get another shot or 2 off with that guy. Right, so we've drew Overwhelming Firepower, Secure Objective 2, and Secure Objective 5. Right, so over this side, the Harlequins have jumped back in the Starweaver, hopefully take out this Herald here, whilst the Skyweavers, the Talos from the Dark Artisan, and the Venom from the top up there will hopefully be able to bring down that Great Unclean one, whilst fire from the Talos and that Venom can hopefully bring that one down. I haven't pushed these forward as I'm keeping them back with the Dark Artisan, and I'm hoping that Nicky's going to have to go around that to then have to come and charge these with Scalathrax, rather than me moving up and potentially taking out the Unclean one in combat and then taking the charge as well. Yeah, I'm not going to score the extra victory point for killing something in close combat there, but I did score 1 for the Herald that we managed to bring down there. So that was it for movement, other than the Void Weaver jumping back there to grab objective 5 for us. The Venom in the centre is still controlling objective 2 due to the Blight Drone being in flying mode. So hopefully we should be able to at least start and negate the psychic phase a little bit. Alright, so shooting phase for the Dark Eldar. Despite having a lot of firepower, not so much was done. We managed to bring down 1 more Nurgle base here with the Disintegrate Cannon from the Raider. This Great Unclean one has lost 3 wounds due to fire from the Talos and that Venom there. Unfortunately, not quite enough to do more damage to him. Down this side, the Venom and the Talos from the Dark Artisan not doing quite enough damage to this Great Unclean one either, only inflicting a single wound. Whilst in the centre, it took fire from the Starweaver. All of the Harlequins didn't kill the Herald, and in the end the bikers had to spin round and shoot the Herald. That does score us overwhelming firepower, but we didn't manage to kill 3 units in the shooting phase. So we've got some assaults to make. These guys are going to be charging in here. So combat's down here. The Grotesques still outnumbered, managed to bring down 1 of the beasts and bring this one down to 1 wound. Meanwhile, the Plague Bearers managed to inflict 2 wounds on the Grotesque at the back. So both units are fearless. So yeah, those guys are sticking around for a bit. The Grotesque doing what they need to do and holding these guys up until I'm able to shoot at them. So not too bad. Down here I thought, nah, sod it, let's try and chuck the Talos at them, and they needed an 11-inch charge and I rolled a 10. So didn't make it. It might work in my favour, it might not. Meanwhile at this side, the Great Unclean One issued a challenge, but Urian stepped up and accepted. The Solitaire didn't do any damage, and Urian rolled a 6 with his Ichor Injector, inflicting instant death on the Great Unclean One, and Nicky failing his save unfortunately. So the Great Unclean One at this side has been cut down, and we've spread out quite a lot to force Nicky to pick his target with Scalathrax. Does he come this way and go after the Solitaire? Does he go after Urian? Or does he go across that way and deal with the Talos? Who knows? So that was it for combat. Let's have a look at the points. Right, so I score overwhelming firepower for killing the Herald with the Skyweavers. I score objective 2 with the Venom in the centre of the table, and my Void Weaver secures objective 5. The Talos, like I said, also killed the Herald in Nicky's assault phase. So that is going to score me another 4 points altogether. That's going to push me up to 8. It's a Nurgle turn 3. Nicky has drew overwhelming firepower. He's still got ascendancy and secure objective 3. Right, so I thought this guy was going to go after the immobilized raider due to not being able to jink. I think Nicky's a little bit worried about Urian and the Grotesque and the Solitaire on this flank. And as a result, he's sent the big guy into the centre. That is a combat and a half. I'm going to be winning them on 6s. Re-rolling though. I've just got to survive those all-important stomps. In the sighted phase, the Great Unclean One here managed to get off Cursed Earth, as well as... Sorry, he didn't get Cursed Earth off. I managed to stop it. He got Summoning off, and he summoned those guys there. So, Nicky is going to try and kill the Grotesques here. He might succeed in doing it, to potentially score him this objective. He's drew secure objective 3, so he's going to score this one, which means he needs to try and get one more. We'll have to see what he's going to do. Right, so down here in combat, this guy charged in and tried to smush the Solitaire. The Solitaire got a single glance through with his Caress and then hit and ran 14 inches onto objective 3, which is going to stop Nicky from scoring it. In the centre, Scalathrax tried to charge in, and unfortunately he didn't make it. The Talos getting 2 wounds, and Nicky unfortunately failing one of his armour and feel no pain saves. So this guy is down to 5 wounds. The Great Unclean One even tried to charge in as well, but unfortunately only rolled a 5-inch charge. So I think these guys are going to be probably multi-charging next turn. See if we can do some damage there. Meanwhile, in combats here, we lost the other Grotesque, but we managed to kill 4 Plague Bearers due to Nicky losing combat, and the -1 leadership from the Freakish Spectacle rule meant that he lost another 3 on that leadership check, unfortunately. So Nicky still doesn't score this objective either. Right, so Nicky doesn't score ascendancy or secure objective 3. However, in the shooting phase, this raider was cut down by the Blight drone. Due to him being immobilized, Nicky rolled another immobilized result on a 10 and managed to wreck it, doing an extra hull point there. So let's have a look at Dark Eldar turn 4. Dark Eldar turn 4, I drew secure objective 3, secure objective 1, secure objective 6, and psychological warfare. Objective 6 is here. This Grotesque is going to have to try and get out of combat. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it, but we shall see. The Void Weaver has jumped forward. The rear Sheraton cannon going to pump into the Plague Bearers there. Meanwhile, the other one will shoot forwards, and the Solitaire will try and take these guys out in order to secure objective 3 for us down here. In the centre, everything is converging in on Scalathrax. I'm hoping that the 2 Venoms, the Dark Artisan and the Harequins there can take out the Great Unclean One and then the rest will go on to Scalathrax. See if we can do some damage. Urian, meanwhile, has ran. He's detached from the unit, and the Grotesques have spread out to shield their master from this guy. He's going to be insta-killing them because they're only toughness 5, but I'm going to use them as a speed bump. I've got very, very little in answer to this unless I use Smash from the monstrous creatures, unfortunately. So yeah, let's see what we can do. Right, so in the shooting phase, the Void Weaver here managed to destroy one of the Plague Bearers. Shooting forward, unfortunately, didn't do any damage to the Herald and the Nurglings there. The Solitaire is going to leap out of the ruins and hopefully get rid of those guys there. Meanwhile, in the centre, fire from the Harlequins coming through the Talos managed to bring down the Great Unclean One. But despite getting loads and loads of wounds, all of the splinter rifle shots from the Talos, the Dark Artisan, and both Venoms failed to do a single wound to Scalathrax. Nicky passing all of his saves, and the saves where he did fail, passing his feel no pain. So, not much damage done in the shooting phase, but we've got some awesome combats coming on. Right, so in combat down here, we managed to actually bring down the Plague Bearer with the Grotesque only getting a single wound through. Nicky failed to do any damage to the Grotesque with the Beast as I passed both my feel no pains, but then thanks to Freakish Spectacle, Nicky unfortunately failed his leadership by quite a bit, removing the Beast from play. And the Grotesque is going to secure me objective 6. The Solitaire over here, meanwhile, didn't do quite enough damage. The Herald is left on a single wound, passing his leadership of 4. Due to not having any of the covered stuff in the area. If he just had one more, would have gotten rid of that extra wound. But in the centre, all of the Talos hurtled in. Didn't realise he was weapon skill 9, so I'm hitting on 5s, wounded on 6s, re-rolling. Managed to get a single wound through. Even with Stomp and the D6 plus 3 additional attacks on this guy, only 1 wound went through. Nicky, thankfully for me, not rolling a 6 on the Stomp table. So, it looks as though I do score objective 6 and objective 1. I'm going to discard... Oh, actually, do I score Psychological Warfare? I think I do. And the Harlequins hold objective 1. So as I said, I do score objective 1 and 6. Psychological Warfare, we've double checked, and that demonic instability doesn't count towards it. So we are going to discard Psychological Warfare. I'm going to keep hold of objective 6 instead. Right, so Nurgle turn 4. Nicky has drew secure objective 4. Behind enemy lines, he's still got Ascendancy and control objective 3. So let's have a quick look at it. Very quick turn. This guy's on objective 3, so whoever comes off better on this side of the combat is going to be the guy that secures objective 3. He did summon in the Psychic phase and summoned these demons here, just staying on the board. This guy, Nicky just wants to kill stuff, so he's going to try and double out these Grotesques. They're only toughness 5, which means that strength 10, nice and tasty sword is going to be clattering down on the Grotesques at that side. Scalathrax has been held up by all the guys here in the middle. These guys ran this way just to secure objective 5. Meanwhile, the Blight Drone has dropped to hover mode and then turbo boosted onto objective number 4. That'll score Nicky that and behind enemy lines. So let's move on to the assault phase. Right, so in combats down here, the Solitaire and the Herald exchanging blows, but no damage done between either of them, which means neither of us will score objective number 3. I'm not hitting running because I'm not going to give him the point. Down here, this guy charged in, but unfortunately only cut down one of the Grotesque, and obviously I can't do anything back to him. So that is tied up combat. Meanwhile, down here, ouch. Took a blow and a half indeed. So Scalathrax managed to tear one of the Talos in half and then managed to roll a 6 on the Stomp, covering 3 of them, removing them from play. So there's only one Talos tying them up now, which means I need to try and play the field a bit more going into turn 5. Hopefully we can hold him up though before he does any more damage. Right, turn 5 for Dark Eldar and Harlequins. We drew Assassinate, Death by 1,000 Cuts. We've still got objective 3, and we've drew objective 6, as well as Hungry for Glory. So, this guy's going to secure objective 6, and he is going to do Assassinate, hopefully, as well as Hungry for Glory, and one of the points for Death by 1,000 Cuts. The Void Weaver, maybe we can take out a Plague Bearer with that rear Shuriken Cannon, and the Shuriken Cannon and the Haywire Cannon on the front, hopefully doing some damage this way. That'll hopefully get us the 3 units. But we've got the Venoms in the centre here as well. We'll hopefully be able to pepper both units of Plague Bearers to do that. And the Zephyr Glaives and the Shuriken Cannons on the Harlequins will hopefully be able to do some damage to this Plague Drone. We shall have to see. But in the centre, the Harlequins have leapt out of the Star Weaver again. The Dark Artisan and Urian are all converging on Scalathrax, and they're going to try and bring them down. Going to be relying on a lot of 6s there with the Caresses and the Homunculus and Urian teaming up to try and bring them down. Hopefully, we can do it. Hopefully. Right, so the plan seems to be working. The Venom managed to bring down a couple of the Plague Bearers here. The Void Weaver and the other Venom managed to bring these guys down to only 2. Meanwhile, the Sky Weavers managed to do a single hull point on this guy. He's now snap shooting. So yeah, hopefully we can bring him down in combat. That'll be the 3rd unit. And then we've got Assassinate, hopefully, here, as well as issue a challenge. And we've got these guys down here as well. Right, so in combat's down here, the Solitaire challenged, and he managed to get 2 wounds straight through with his Caress, and a couple of extra wounds as well. The weight of dice, unfortunately, 6 wounds going through. Nicky couldn't make all the saves. This guy smashed the last 2 of the Grotesques into the ground, and he's consolidating back this way to hopefully pick on the Solitaire. In the centre, everything charged in and tried to take down Scalathrax. Urian even got an instant death wound through, but unfortunately Nicky passed his save. The Talos took a single wound to a stomp, and we lost the other Talos to the swing of that giant sword. The only other thing that happened was the Skyweavers here failed their charge and took a single wound. Nicky, however, didn't jink when I shot at him in the shooting phase, so he's going to be dropping some firepower next turn, I think. Hopefully the Skyweavers can survive to take out that Plague Drone. So let's have a look at the points. So looking at the score at the end of Dark Eldar turn 5, I'm currently on 10 points. I score Assassinate for killing the Herald. I score objective 3 with the Solitaire, puts me at 12. Death by 1,000 Cuts, we managed to remove models from only 2 units. So yeah, I don't score that at all actually. Secure objective 6 we score with a Grotesque, and Hungry for Glory we issue a challenge. So that puts me at 14 points. For Death by 1,000 Cuts, I actually score a victory point 4, as we also cut the Herald down in combat and removed units, models from both Plague Bearer units. So that puts me at 15 points. Right, it's turn 5 for Nurgle. Nicky has drew Blood and Guts, which shouldn't be hard considering Scalathrax is going to smash something into the ground. Secure objective 1, secure objective 4, secure objective 6, and Ascendancy. So let's see what he can do. Right, so Nicky's movement. The Plague Bearers that were left to this side are going to secure objective 5 here. He doesn't have objective 5, but it is going to help him towards Ascendancy. The Plague Drone that was here wouldn't have necessarily been able to blow these Skyweavers off this objective. So what he's done is he's elected to move and then turbo boost in hover mode to score him objective 1, which he's got the point for, the card for. So he did abandon objective 4 to do that, but again, that is heading towards Ascendancy. Down here, meanwhile, he's hoping that between these guys he can take out the Solitaire, scoring him objective 3. And like I said, hopefully more stuff towards Ascendancy. And if he can kill him in the assault phase, score him that all-important Blood and Guts. If he manages to kill 3 units in the assault phase, which, bearing in mind, Scalathrax is there, he gets a D3. So although Nicky is only on 4 points at the moment, he's got a good opportunity here to potentially bring back a lot of points. So we've done the Warp Storm table, and all demons have +1 invulnerable, so Scalathrax is on a 2-up invulnerable. Lovely. And these guys are going to be charging in. He failed to do any damage with that Flamer template though. Right, so down here, that Solitaire only cut down one of the Plague Bearers as everything came hurtling in around him. But unfortunately, he only took a single wound from the weight of attacks from the Plague Bearers. Meanwhile, in the centre, we lost a single Harlequin Scalathrax, thrashing left, right and centre. The Harlequins dancing around, distracting him from the Talos and the Kronos. The Stomps failing to do any damage as well. So let's have a quick look at the points. Right, and with that, the game has come to a close. Unfortunately, Nicky doesn't score this objective here towards Ascendancy. If he could have just gotten through the Solitaire's 3-up invuln, it would have gotten him Ascendancy there. And if Scalathrax had managed to get through some extra units here, that would have been 2 D3 that Nicky would have had and could have potentially taken the lead, as well as securing objective 1 over here. So a massive thank you indeed to Nicky for bringing down his beautiful Nurgle army. And Scalathrax, what can I say, is an absolute beast. I think the best thing to have done would have been keep the Talos back and pump them full of poison. I actually did more damage to him with shooting attacks rather than close combat. He wiped out the Corpse Thief alone. And these guys, absolute phenomenal conversions and painting there by Nicky. The beasts that were on play and everything. So massive thank you for Nicky for coming down. It's been a very enjoyable game. If you live in the Darlington area, please check out Dogs of War. Plenty of games ongoing such as Bolt Action, Age of Sigmar, 40k. I'll post a link in the description. But thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.